And we're live. Excellent. We're back. So, I am exhausted. This vaccine has kicked my butt. And I was told that the second dose actually kicked your butt even more. I don't know. Has anyone at parents that actually gotten it yet? Yeah? Oh, for real? For what reason? Okay. So, because like I talked to somebody yesterday and they're like, oh yeah, my dad's a firefighter. I'm like, that makes sense. You know, they're 1A group, I'm 1B group because of teachers and stuff like that. But I went to Rowan College of blah, 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 whatever that thing is. I don't know. Not Rowan University, but like it's an off-campus thing. And it was literally like 15 minutes of like nonstop walking. The Army was running it. You go up, you show your ID and your appointment thing, and you keep walking. You go through all these checkpoints or whatever. And then eventually you get to like the main room after like all this walking in and out of buildings. And then you sit down, they ask you a few questions, and then boop, and then here's your next appointment. Like, okay, cool. So I waited for 15 minutes because they had to observe you, and then I went home. And then when I got home, oh man, it was like I hit a brick wall. Just hit a brick wall. No, I know. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but apparently, like I said, some of my buddies who have gotten the second dose already, they're just like, yeah, it's terrible. I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. So my second dose won't affect you guys because I'm gonna get it on an A day, so March 17th. But I'm just, just as a heads up, if I happen to not be here on the 18th, it's probably because the vaccine punched me in the face. I don't know. Anyway, back to this. So, goal for today. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the comments. Oh, okay. So, goal for today, and then we'll kind of get moving with this. Number one, I want to talk about the Marquee Day Challenge from the other day that you'd all turned in. I want to go over a couple of them. I got a couple of volunteers, thank you, that we will go over just because I want to talk about some of the mistakes that have been made that I found, and perhaps some light could be shed on it. I want to talk about how I went about enciphering my message to you guys, and some of the little tiny mistakes that I saw that you guys had, sending them back to me. We'll talk about that. Then I would like to, eventually we are going to get an assessment on this stuff with Playfair and columnar ciphers and all that other stuff. We already had a minor, but I eventually want to get a major on that, but we are going to get more practice with it. But my main goal for today is the day. Today is the day I get to talk to you about the Beale papers. I'm very excited about this because I've been kind of subtly hyping this for a few weeks, if you've been paying attention to me, saying like the Beale papers, the Beale cipher, anything like that. I got a cool 10-minute animated video for you. It's awesome. But we'll get there. And then we'll talk about the Beale cipher and my attempts at cracking the Beale cipher, which have been terrible. But we'll get there. If you would, I already see 3 people in the chat have commented. If you would, please make sure you make that comment, and that'd be great. Okay, let me bring up the first one here. So, Marquee Day Challenge. Josh has been so kind as to volunteer his. I had the opportunity to kind of go through it. You can see the conversation that Josh and I had down here, which is fun. If I zoom in here, will this? Okay, I think that'll work. All right, I'm just trying to make this as large as possible, especially for those in the chat. That might be as large as I can get it right now. So, at first, I looked at this. This is what I got. And at first, I looked at this, and I'm like, I did ask for keywords, which is, my first comment to him. So he did send them to me, and I didn't write them down. But I'll show you what I did to get this kind of thing done. So he sent me the keywords of child and cozy. Okay. Now, the directions that I gave you guys was first to encipher it using, I believe, Playfair. Was that correct? Okay. And then to encipher it using columnar. So you did Playfair using the word child, and then you did columnar using the word cozy. So what I did, I was like, okay, I actually do want to try and decipher. Let's pretend like I don't know what the original message is. So I decided to do columnar with the word cozy So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I made my columns. This is me attempting to decipher. Cozy, like that. And then I went into, well, how many letters did you actually have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So if that's the case, then I need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just showing you a method as to how you could actually go about deciphering this, knowing the key word that was given to you. There are 30 letters, 5 letters in the word cozy. And I'm going to fill this chunk out. So if I'm going to do this correctly, cozy should start out HRNQY, Y, and then I would go to the letter E, XBXSQI. Okay, and then I would go to the letter O, SQIXWAITI. Okay, and then I would go to the letter Y, BQEBZI, ERZBCI. Okay. Why are all those I's showing up in the last row? Let's see what happens. So then I went back to the Playfair. Because mind you, based on this should give me the deciphered columnar, which this should now be HX. Oh, here it is. Yeah. HXEX BRWR. It's all written up here. BQNAX or ZX EQIB SB YT CQZY, and then you threw in those I's, right? Cool. So here's what I did. In order to save myself a little time, let's assume that those I's are filler letters, which I believe they are. Nice. I'm going to take just your Playfair cipher, and I'm going to throw it into a Playfair calculator. Did you know that these exist online? They're pretty solid, you know. So the columnar was obviously done correctly, which, I mean, do not fret. You see what's there, right? Come on, dude. It was an absent day like participation challenge thing. So why would you worry? Anyway, so let's see. I did this. I took those. Playfair, decoder. I think that was this the one I liked? There's a few of them online. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like. I don't like that one. What? This one I like better. So I type in that thing there, and the word was what? Child? Cool. And decrypt, right? Now, the thing that I got a little confused on, now mind you, you notice I didn't put in the I's. And part of it worked. And it said, I wish Mr. Markey was here. And then there was this extra little bit. That's what I was confused on. What is this extra little bit? Do you know what word this is actually? Today, with an extra X at the end. What happened to the word today? I don't know either. Yeah. Now the cool thing about Playfair Cipher, if everything is set up correctly, there might be like a messed up like letter pair here or there. And what ended up happening was this letter pair ended up getting messed up. Everything else was perfect except for this letter pair. So it's just like the tiniest of little things. That's what I wanted you to find out. Yes. No. Again, do you want me to show you the grade again? You know, it was just a practice. Okay, that's why I asked for volunteers. I'm not gonna say, hey, volunteer your major assessment so we can criticize that. No, this is a practice. Okay, so the point of me bringing this up was just because it's like just a letter pair, just one little letter pair messed up the whole thing. I mean, not the whole thing, but it messed up part of it. So that really should have been like, hold on. Because if you did Playfair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you did child like that, then it would have been A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Nope. Yeah. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Good. And then the letters should have been D, A, right? So DA for you would have changed to CG. It should have been CG. You put CQ. So when I tried to decipher it, hey, why'd you put CQ? No. I put a Q there. That should have been CG. Yeah. I'm not bringing up these mistakes to be like, ha, 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 ha. I'm bringing them up so that we can learn from each other, you know? Oh, okay. Sky just commented that she sees how she messed it up too, but anyway. But yeah, that should have been CG. So let me change that to a CG, and I believe this will correct. Because what it tried to do was it looked at CQ, and it saw that CQ was in the same column, and when it tried to decipher it, because it was in the same column, it went back to VK, which is where that VK comes from right here. So let me change that CQ to a CG. Here we go. G. There it is. And I fixed it to today. But that's what I'm saying, though. One little letter. It's like a house of cards. Anyway. It's okay, though. See, if you notice, and Josh, if you notice in the comments, I wasn't trying to tell you what your mistake was. I wanted you to try and find your mistake. That's the whole point. All right. Chris also volunteered his. Now, oh, he's already on there. Look at him. There he is. So let's see, F11. Did you fix it? Oh. Okay. Anyway, the text here, that's the final text. And then he gave me the two things right there. So first, oxbow. So it's 5 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oxbow. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 35 letters there. And that right off the bat, I was confused. I'm like, 35 letters? What's going on here? And I was trying to figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Originally, I hadn't put 7 letters in the column. I put 6 letters in the column because of the length of the plain text, because there's supposed to be 30 letters. And I was like, okay, so I did that, but then nothing was lining up properly. And then once I realized, oh, snap, it's 35 letters, then I started going through it like this. And I was like, okay, B, M, L, K, Q, K, B, and then the first O, O, L, G, E, W, P, U, second O, O, Q. Do you know the mistake you made?
Did I put the cipher in the text?
Oh, you put the keyword. Yeah, you put the keyword into the cipher. Yeah, that's what caused those extra 5 letters. So O, Q, E, X, Y, H, F, W, I, W, F, Q, J, Y, and then X, V, S, L, G, B, E. There we go. So yeah, that's what caused it. So then I was like, okay, let's assume for a moment that this shouldn't actually be here. So then this is actually your ciphertext. So then I went back to that Playfair thing with the word jockey. So hold on. Now, if you saw with Josh's, obviously that Playfair thing does work with the proper keywords. So I'm gonna cut and paste this, but I'm gonna cut out those extra letters once I get to the Playfair calculator here. Let's get rid of the word child here. Yeah, there we go. So then it was get rid of the B. What else am I getting rid of? So, oh wait, no, I don't need this. Okay, forget that. Let me actually just type it in like this. So tell me the letters across. It was LVM, help me out, QI, GS, LEW, ELK, XT, WG, QY, yep, PB, KH, JU, EB, FY. And then it was the word jockey. So when I started doing it, stuff started popping up. If you notice, I wisp, and then the whole thing fell apart. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think my best guess is that the first 4 letters are perfect. Clearly, he knew what he was doing. I think a letter may have gotten jumbled in there, something in a letter pair or something like that. Because if one letter pair is off when you originally wanted to encipher it, then the rest of them will be off as well. So here we go. Let's go. Let's go to the word jockey here. Yep.
But it messed up because when I did it, because it started with J. So I didn't want to confuse myself with J in the same square, so I made it XC. Would that have messed up? Would that have confused your system because it's assuming that JI is the same
Yes.
square?
It's assuming that I and J are the same.
So maybe that messed it up too.
Possibly.
I made it XZ in the same one.
So did you start this with XZ or did you write out jockey?
I wrote out jockey, but at the end, that's where it doubled up.
Here, let me take a look. Jockey, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Whoa, can't do I. Did you put I there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. That might be what happened then. Yeah. So you would have done. Wait, so if you put I then, so you had to double up something else then, right?
Yeah, I doubled up the X and the C.
Oh. Okay. Now here's the thing. Technically, you could totally do that in a real life. I want to send a secret message to someone, but they would have to recognize, or they would have to know beforehand that that's what you did.
I realized that after. I meant to
Yeah.
put in there that I switched them.
Mm-hmm. Then obviously the website would be no good, but I could still do it by hand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me see. So you would have done H-I-J, I can't do K. LMNOPQRSTUVWXZ, like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it would have been, I wish Mr. No, I forgot the H. I wish Mr. Marquis. Let me just do those. So then IW would have been, yep, LV. There it is right there. And then IS would have been MQ. There it is right there. And then HM would have been in the same row. So you enciphered it to IG, which is correct by your Playfair square. but in reality, it would have been something else based on what they did. Okay. I got you. But like I said, this is a practice. It's just a practice. So like little things like that. And that's the thing, though. It's like, here's the thing. If you were sending me a secret message and I knew that you sent it by Playfair, man, I would have been lost. You know what I'm saying? In real life. So like, as a result of doing that, I think you just, killed the president. He beat the machine. The machine follows a set of rules. And those rules were violated. Yeah. Sorry, I just seeing what she's commenting, But anyway, it's like little things like that. Did anybody go and watch National Treasure too? Nice. Yeah, I did watch parts of it that night. But you saw like in National Treasure 2, they found like letter fragments on the back of a page, and they didn't have the full cipher, but it was kind of cool. But then the cipher that I gave you guys, it was like La Belle Lady. I can't remember the exact rest of the phrase. I had it written down, of course. But if you deciphered what I gave you on Monday, you would have found the full phrase about Cibola gold and stuff like that. Did you do it? Yeah. Oh, sweet. Read it out. What do you got?
Searched on the rest of the cipher on the back of the can of chutney tomato soup.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Cibola. Yeah, it's like the lost city of gold. It's this ancient myth. European explorers kind of told each other about the New World and that there was a hidden city of gold somewhere in the Americas. Yeah, except in the National Treasure one, the Cibola was actually in the Black Hills of North Dakota. And the Mount Rushmore was actually constructed to cover up the landmarks. This is not true. My glasses.
It sounds the Declaration of Independence is in George Washington's text. So.
Sure. No, but actually, National Treasure 1 will lead me into my talk about the Beale cipher. National Treasure 1 will.
Everything of this class comes back to National Treasure.
Yes, it does. Isn't it exciting? I'm just saying. Like this entire class is actually secretly teaching you about Nick Cage. Yeah.
And I still haven't watched it.
Watch it. Anyway, so National Treasure 1, basically there is this like hidden Templar treasure somewhere in the United States, and it was hidden so that the Europeans and the English wouldn't be able to find it. And the idea was that it was actually hidden in the country using our founding fathers did it using a series of clues, like the Templars, the Masons, blah, blah, blah. Conspiracy. Anyway, so this single phrase, "The secret lies with Charlotte," led Nick Cage when he was a grown-up to find this sunken ship that was actually, it had migrating patterns of ice and stuff like that, led it to like the Arctic. And they found in the ship this like kind of ivory pipe that had a secret message that led them to the Declaration of Independence. Basically, it was like there's a secret map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Through a series of events, he eventually says, well, I have to steal the Declaration of Independence. And it's like, that's what Nick Cage does in this movie. He comes to this like grandiose conclusion that is like, are you what? No, you don't have to do that. It's like, I got to steal the Declaration, National Treasure 2. I'm going to have to kidnap the president. So no, on the Declaration, the map, there's a hidden map on the back that they are able to reveal using like, invisible ink. There's like invisible type of ink that they use. And they're able to reveal the map. The map is nothing more than a series of numbers. And it's like, what the heck are the series of numbers? Well, the clue from that ivory pipe basically stated, you could figure out that there's these numbers will lead you to these letters that were written by Benjamin Franklin. There are these letters that Benjamin Franklin wrote when he was a teenager that he signed anonymously. He signed them from your dutiful servant, silence, do good, or some junk like that. I don't know. But the idea is that the series of letters reflect the key, because it's like the letter, the line on the letter, and then the letter on the page, or something like that. And it's like each number represented something in the letter. And from that, you could decipher the next clue. That's what I'll leave it at. I know, right? This leads me to the Beale cipher. Now, I know. The Beale cipher, the Beale papers, were actually the inspiration for National Treasure. Yeah. The Beale papers, to this day, it's still suspect as to whether or not they're true. But if they're true, it would potentially lead to one of the biggest hidden secrets in American history. I'm just saying, if it's true. Do I believe it's true? I don't know. I'm suspect.
Please elaborate. You're getting the answer here.
About the Beale cipher?
Yes.
That's what the video's for. So I got this video hyped up right here. I want you guys to watch this. For those of you in the live chat, I do have the the speakers pointed at the microphone, so you'll be able to hear what's going on. And let's see what the heck is going on here.
In January of 1820, three fine gentlemen, one of whom was named Thomas Jefferson Beale, sought shelter from the cold at the popular Washington Hotel in Lynchburg, Virginia. Though his traveling companions left around a week later, Thomas stayed at the hotel for the rest of the winter, becoming casual friends with the innkeeper Robert Morris, and hopefully getting a discount on the presidential suite for having the name Thomas Jefferson. 2 years later, in January 1822, Thomas returned to the hotel for the winter and again stayed several weeks. This time, before he left to go west, he asked Robert to keep a locked iron box of important papers for him. Later that spring, Robert received a letter from Thomas, stating that the box contained important papers regarding a fortune belonging to him and some friends. Robert wasn't to open the box unless Thomas or his friends didn't return to retrieve the box within 10 years. If no one came to retrieve the box, in June of 1832, Robert would be sent a letter, which would contain a cipher key for the documents in the box. Thomas did not return to the hotel. Robert never saw him again. The letter with the decoding key never arrived. Robert forgot about the box for 23 years until 1845, when he finally opened it. It contained a letter for him, some old receipts, and 3 coded documents consisting of a series of numbers. The letter explained that in 1817, Thomas had been the leader of an expedition of 30 gentlemen to the southwest to hunt buffalo and grizzly bear. Near what is now known as the Colorado-New Mexican border, they stumbled upon gold and silver deposits. Agreeing to keep it a secret, the expedition spent close to 2 years quietly mining the precious metals. For safekeeping, they transported their treasure to Virginia by wagon. 2 shipments of riches were then buried in a vault near Buford's Tavern, in the county of Bedford, between 1819 and 1821. The 3 coded papers, which were each encrypted using a different text, explained where the treasure was, what the treasure was, and the names of the explorers and their relatives who would be entitled to shares of the treasure. Thomas was tasked with finding a worthy person to entrust the papers with in case of emergency, which is how he came to ask Robert to look after the box. Unfortunately, Robert couldn't make heads or tails of the encrypted documents. For the next 17 years, Robert attempted to decipher them to no avail. When he was dying, he gave the mysterious documents in a box to an unnamed friend. The friend spent 20 years also attempting to decode the mysterious papers. Using the U.S. Declaration of Independence as a modified cipher key, he was able to successfully decipher the second paper.
Now, hold on. I just want you to think about that statement. Using the Declaration of Independence as a modified cipher key. What in the...
Which gave him a description of the buried treasure. The cipher works in this fashion. Each number corresponds to a word in the Declaration of Independence. For example, the first number in the sentence is 115. The 115th word of the Declaration is instituted, which begins with the letter I. So the first number, 115, represents the letter I, and so on. Excitingly, the second document detailed a plethora of riches. To quote it, the first deposit consisted of 1,014 pounds of gold and 3,812 pounds of silver, deposited November 1819. The second was made December 1821 and consisted of 1,907 pounds of gold and 1,288 pounds of silver. Also jewels, obtained in St. Louis in exchange for silver to save transportation, and valued at $13,000. The document also claimed that the treasure was buried in a vault 6 feet below the ground, within 4 miles of Buford's Tavern. From the description, the treasure weighs close to 3 tons and in today's money is worth upwards of $43 million. In 1885, the unnamed friend handed off all the documents to another friend, James B. Ward, who published a pamphlet called the Beale Papers. The pamphlet contained the story of the box, Thomas's letters, and decoded second document, and the 2 yet to be deciphered documents. The pamphlet was sold for 50 cents, or just under $14 in today's money. The pamphlet created a small frenzy and would have sold well, but there was a supply issue. The majority of copies of the Beale Papers pamphlet burned in a warehouse fire. There was little money for reprinting, and James died a pauper. The fact that the originals of the pamphlet were hard to get and it was easier to come by second-generation handmade copies of the coded documents added to the allure of the legend. Over the years, people have spent countless hours using a wide variety of significant texts to try to break the 2 remaining encoded documents, from the Bible to the Magna Carta to Shakespearean plays and everything in between. Others have focused on delving into the background of those mentioned in the pamphlet, hoping that obscure details of their lives will provide some heretofore unknown clue. Fortune hunters from near and far have gone digging both legally and illegally around Bedford. Many people have been arrested for trespassing, fined, sacrificed their lives, and gone broke trying to find the Beale treasure. Famously, in 1898, the Hart brothers, Clayton and George, hired a medium to help them find the treasure. The medium claimed to see Thomas and the treasure during a trance. However, when put to the test, the vision was phony. The Harts spent hours digging the spot pointed out to them by the medium, but found nothing. They even came back a few days later with dynamite, but still found nothing. Interestingly, this failure actually didn't make the Hart brothers give up their search for the riches. They persevered for well over 10 years. Finally, Clayton gave up hunting for the treasure in 1912. However, it wasn't until 1952 that George abandoned hope. Cryptology pioneers Herbert O. Yardley, who founded the U.S. Cipher Bureau at the end of World War I, and Colonel William Friedman, a prominent figure in American code breaking during the first half of the 20th century, were fascinated with the Beale Papers. Colonel William actually incorporated the ciphers into the training program while head of the U.S. Army's Signals Intelligence Service. In 1983, Marilyn Parsons was caught using a backhoe to dig up a cemetery beside Mountain View Baptist Church in Montvale. She claimed to have decoded the Beale Papers and said that she thought the grave markers were an illusion to mark where the gold was. She ended up spending 2 months in jail and paying a $500 fine for trespassing. Luckily for her, a judge dismissed the grave tampering charge. In the late 1980s, a large dig at the top of Porter's Mountain was undertaken with the landowner's permission for a 50-50 split on any treasure found. Nothing Beale related was discovered, but the treasure hunters found Civil War artifacts. The value of those artifacts paid for their time and equipment rental, so the expedition broke even. Today, there are several online forums dedicated to solving the encrypted papers. Historians and cryptographers have written books on the subject. In recent years, several documentaries and reality shows have discussed theories and hunted for the treasure. As of yet, no one is known to have succeeded in deciphering documents 1 and 3, or finding the treasure. Of course, there's a lot of dissenters who consider the whole thing to be a big hoax. Many people were very interested in the pamphlet, and it was just a poor trick of fate that the majority of the pamphlets were destroyed. Otherwise, James likely would have sold them all and made a fortune. It's pretty convenient that the one decoded document details the huge, amazing treasure. Many people have pointed out holes and inconsistencies in Thomas's story. Would it be possible for a large group of men to mine precious metals for months on end, traveling to the nearest town for supplies, yet no one seemed to catch wind of the fact that they'd found gold? Would it be possible to go into town and purchase 50 pounds of flour and 30 pickaxes without anyone being curious? Then the expedition somehow twice managed to transport several wagon loads of treasure across the central U.S. without anyone noticing. Granted, there were less people then, but there were also Native Americans, trappers, hunters, explorers, and other miners roaming the territory, even when the expedition reached quote-unquote more civilized areas. It's unlikely that a large group could ride into various towns for the night with several covered wagons and no one discovered their secret. Why haul the treasure all the way to central Virginia? There had to be safer and easier to travel to hiding places in Kansas or Missouri, etc. Linguists and investigators have analyzed the writing style of the pamphlet and Thomas's letter. Many claim that James and Thomas Beale were the same person because of the similar writing styles. It's also been noticed that some of the words in Thomas's letters are anachronistic. For example, Thomas's letter written in 1822 mentions stampeding buffalo. Stampede is a Spanish word, and it didn't come into widespread use by English speakers until the 1840s. Delving into historical records, Robert Morris did indeed run the Washington Hotel, but he didn't start the job until 1823. The 1820 U.S. Census records 2 Thomas Beales. one in Louisiana and a Thomas K. Beale in Virginia. However, records are spotty and the population schedules are missing for 3 states and 1 territory. Also, before 1850, the U.S. Census recorded the names of only the heads of households. So if Thomas was living in someone else's household, he may not have been counted. Several times since the late 1960s, supercomputers have been used to analyze the ciphers. Analysis has found that the ciphers were poorly encoded, and the 2 undeciphered documents did not show the patterns expected of randomly chosen numbers. Therefore, it probably contains an intelligible text. Cryptographers agree with the assessment, saying that the documents have statistical characteristics which suggest that they're not actually encryptions of English plain text. So either another language is encoded or the text is gibberish. Furthermore, the 3rd cipher appears to be too short to list the names of 30 individuals and their next of kin. One interesting theory is that popular mystery and horror writer Edgar Allan Poe wrote the Beale papers. He was known to have an interest in cryptography and also used a cryptogram as a plot device in one of his stories. However, Poe died in 1849, 36 years before the Beale papers were published. Linguistic study has determined that Poe's prose is very grammatically different from the author of the Beale papers. Other theories abound. Though not much else is known about him, records show that James was a master mason. Some people believe the pamphlet is a fictional Freemason allegory written by him. Other fortune hunters claim to have cracked the code, but the treasure is buried on well-guarded private property, and they cannot get permission to dig. There are some who believe that the treasure was actually found by fortune hunters a long time ago, possibly in the 1880s, not long after the pamphlet was published. Or in the 20th century, the US government or a cabal of wealthy men secretly cracked the code, found the treasure, and removed it. It's also possible that Thomas may have become paranoid, circumvented Robert, and moved the treasure himself. However, many people still believe that an astounding fortune in gold and jewels awaits them if they could just figure out the code. What do you think? Is there really an amazing treasure, or was the Beale papers an elaborate hoax?
So get the
Your
lights.
theories in the comments. Then go watch How Did a Whole Video.
Get the lights. Get the lights.
You know what happened to the Roman tribe?
I heard about that story.
That was actually 20 years.
What?
No, it's because they thought the automatic reached you.
I heard that. I actually had heard that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not assigning this whatsoever, but I am going to share with you all, if I can actually find it here. There it is. I have a. Well, now I don't know where it is. I had a copy of the Beale cipher, but I thought I had it in here in my personal Google Drive. I guess I don't. No, I totally did not. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to give you that paper another time. I'm gonna have to give you the numbers another time. You can find the Beale numbers, the Beale papers, like anywhere online and stuff like that nowadays. But here's what I want you to know about it. First of all, there are 3 Beale papers. The decipherment, the correct decipherment, has been done for paper number 2, in which they determined that each number in the cipher represented the first letter of the word in the Declaration of Independence. So, for example, again, he said like the 100th word was like this, then the first letter would represent that number. The thing about the paper, though, is that they don't just use the numbers, or they don't just use 26 different numbers. They use like hundreds of different numbers. And I'm going to kind of show you this right now. I'm going to show you my work on the second paper. Now, let me be very clear. The second Beale paper has been deciphered. Papers 1 and 3 have not. My theory is that if I could figure out an alternate way to crack Beale cipher number 2, I could apply that alternate way to Beale ciphers number 1 and 3. Because they have not been able to crack Beale cipher number 1 and 3, although you even heard it in the video, it's not just random numbers. So let me just kind of show you this real quick. There we go, duplicate to here, to here. So first of all, here is Beale cipher number 1. Now Beale cipher number 1 is what they call the location of the vault. And again, with these numbers, I'm just saying they're not random according to most cryptologists. They're not random, but they have been unable to crack out the meaning as to what it actually is. Those commas are not actually in the original Beale paper. They're not. They're just like spaces and junk like that, as far as I can remember. I mean, oh yeah, but I don't. They're not punctuation, is my point. And then there's Beale cipher number 3. And Beale cipher number 3 are the names and residencies of the families of people who would get the treasure. But then, like, you know, like they said in the video, like, it seems too short. Now, brace yourself. Brace yourself. Here's the work that I've done so far on Beale cipher number 2, keeping in mind that Beale cipher number 2 has already been decoded. What I want to do is find an alternate way of figuring it out. I was trying to figure out Beale cipher number 2 based on letter frequency. But because, like, the letter A might be used to represent 3 different numbers, that made it a bit difficult. I created a program to kind of help me do this, but this is what I did by hand so far. And I say so far because, let me just kind of move up a little bit. This is what I've done so far on the Beale cipher. I was trying to find letter frequency analysis and patterns. And you can see the connections that I've been trying to make on this thing. Again, even though it's already been cracked, I just wanted to see if I could do it using letter frequency analysis. Now, one might say, Mr. Markey, this is insane. To which I would say, have you met me? Come on. So then I was trying to figure out like different frequency analysis things of like letter pairs and things of that nature. And I was trying to, you know, so then I decided, okay, let me transfer this information to a notebook and let's see if I can't do it a little bit deeper. So I was trying to figure out all these like letter pairs, and you can see like you're really getting a deep dive into my like, you know, insanity. But yeah, but a little bit. But again, I was just trying to see, could I apply letter frequency analysis to the Beale cipher, even though like a letter might be represented by multiple numbers, you know? And that's what I was trying to figure out basically. But anyway, now the kicker to this whole thing is this. The treasure might not even be real. It might not even be real. It might just be a made-up story to sell pamphlets back in the 1800s. It might be. But the thing is, I'm not going out searching for gold. I'm not. Yet. I'm not going out searching for gold. I'm doing other things. So, what I'm going to do, when I actually find it, because I do have a copy of that Word document somewhere. I don't know where it is. It might be on like a jump drive somewhere at home. But I'm going to send you guys a copy of that Beale cipher just for funsies. And just, you know, talking about the second one, the second letter, and applying it to the Declaration of Independence. Keeping in mind that they did say a modified version because apparently either he like misspelled words or some junk like that. But I don't know. Sometimes people misspell words on purpose just to throw people off the scent. But now, I do have one more video to show you on this wonderful Friday. I don't even know how to word this thing. It's a short film. It's an award-winning short film. But within this short film are a lot of codes and ciphers. And the idea behind it is this guy has a secret to unlock the Beale papers. And I'll kind of leave it at that. But watch this thing. I've been very excited to show this to you.
So basically,
Go ahead.
the United States postal system has been garbage for 200 years. They lost a letter that was supposed to go to the guy,
Maybe.
and then someone found it, and now they have $43 million in gold.
Well, no. Here's the thing. The letter was directions on how to unlock the cipher. If the person did not know that that letter contained that information, basically they have the key, but they don't know where the lock is. You know what I'm saying? See, every code, there's a lock and a key. And just because you know what the key is, I don't know what lock it goes to. Have you ever had a key that you literally did not know what door it unlocked? Well, every single door, every single lock, right? But what if it goes to a lock that's not even at your house? Oh, snap. That's the whole idea. All right, let me cue this thing up. All right. Now, somebody get the lights. But again, this thing, it is very stylistic. It's like a little bit of a film. It's a short film. It's only about 10 minutes. but it contains a lot of information, and you have to watch very closely because there are tons of codes and keys in this thing. I'll send you the link to this after today is done, but I really want you to pay close attention and see if you can't decipher anything along the way, because there's a lot of hidden stuff that you may not be aware of as the camera kind of flips by.
I always knew I'd make the front page one day, just not like this. Spy isn't a label to be born lightly these days. Ticket, please. This is sure to attract the attention of the feds. Ticket. Just what you don't need. You're about to crack the biggest riddle of our time. But don't judge me just yet. I need you to trust me. If there's one thing I've learned in my line of work, it's that things are often not as they appear. And just when you think you might have the answer, a small twist can change everything.
I just want to pause it real quick and just kind of rewind. Did you guys see the one hidden number? What was it? Yeah, you got to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. Right there on the top left. There's going to be a lot floating around, but it's not just hidden numbers. It's not just hidden numbers. If you notice the text on that newspaper, what's up with the text? Yeah, it's backwards, yeah. Like little stuff like that. You're getting a closer look?
Twist can change everything.
Again, I'm going to send you this video after today. That right there is a visual representation of the German Enigma machine from World War II. We're going to talk about that in the future.
But I've always made the most of my situation. After my last project went sour, I wanted to believe that this cipher could be my salvation. But that too wasn't quite as it appeared, and if my fortunes have changed since then, it's only been for the worse. I can't say I wasn't warned. This cipher has a notorious past. Its promise drew out the worst in men. Untold amounts of gold hidden out there somewhere, just beyond our grasp. And of course, there's the man himself, Thomas Beale. By any scholarly account, the man never even existed. Some would call him a thief, but in his day he was a true American entrepreneur, ruthless yet ingenious. They say he buried his fortune in the Virginia mountainside, the exact location inscribed in a letter that he entrusted to an innkeeper for safekeeping. But Beale never returned. Eventually, the innkeeper's curiosity would get the better of him, but what he found was bewildering. No instructions, no words, only numbers. The gold's location lay before him on those pages, hidden in plain sight, daring to be uncovered. Many men have since attempted to decrypt the Thomas Beale cipher, and over the years, the fate of these men grew darker. Sickness, madness, murder. The most promising cryptographers would spend years in its grasp and walk away lesser men. And so, the legend grew. I took it upon myself to solve this cipher and redeem my name. The cipher, concocted by the human mind to puzzle, to conceal, holds a truth. It was that which I sought, even if only to prove it a lie. After months of work, I received a phone call from my assistant in St. Louis. The last test string was working. I had to verify the results with the machine, but I was being watched. How much was I willing to risk? My name, my reputation, my life.
Well, you gentlemen are very lucky. We don't usually stop at this. Hey, mister, you can't just barge in like that.
Apologies for Mr. Black. We are with the FBI and we need to search this train. Thank you very much for the inconvenience.
Yeah, thanks.
Damn G-men.
This doesn't look like St.
Why are we stopping? This isn't a scheduled stop. Maybe I'm wrong.
Quiet.
So what do we do now? Just sort of ask if they've seen the guy or something?
Remember what Black talked about? You just keep your mouth shut and your eyes open. And stay out of Mr. Black's way. I'll handle the questions. This place makes me feel sick. I never liked trains.
Me either.
Excuse me, sir. We are looking for someone and we'd like to know if you've seen him. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Have you seen this man?
I don't think you can see the photo with his head like that. Dear God! Fire! I'm on fire! Water! Water!
Okay, sir. If you've seen this man, blink twice. If not, blink once.
Actually, I heard once where he is.
Shut up, Earl.
Oh, whoa! Hey!
Where's that coming from? Ah!
I think they're shooting at us.
You idiot! Ouch! Jesus! Did you hear any gunshots?
Can't see anything.
Cover me!
We're gonna arrest you. Whoever doing this.
Slam it!
Ow! The face. I'm shot in the face.
Sometimes running is just easier.
Your mind is dead. Ow!
I've never believed the legend of the Cipher, yet somehow I'm the closest to solving it.
Let's go!
So close. Most see the cries and miss the pieces, but the clues are all around us, each holding a small bit of truth. And with the right twist and a little patience, everything falls into place.
So, not only did that video contain a lot of hidden numbers, backwards text, hidden meaning behind things, everything in that video is something of a clue. From the newspaper articles to the books that were up there to the little names that flashed across the screen. Did you see the seats on the train having like different dots, series of dots, some colored in, some not? Yeah, that's also a code as well. Everything in that thing was a code. It's insane. I'm going to send you this video just for funsies. I actually have not had a chance to actually go through it because I've had too much to do elsewhere. But one of my goals is to go through that video and not look up anything online, but actually be able to decipher a lot of the stuff in that video on my own. But that is an award-winning short film that is entirely centered around ciphers and codes. And obviously, it's called the Thomas Beale Cipher. I thought it was very interesting. I know. Anywho, I will see you, on Tuesday, Thursday of next week? Cool. On Tuesday, Thursday of next week, we'll get a little more practice with transposition ciphers, Playfair ciphers, things of that nature, combining things, and whatnot. Obviously, you just had that assessment, that minor assessment that I just gave you. We're going to be aiming probably for a major soon at one point or another. I'm trying to put together something of a project for this, but I won't give anything away just yet because I still have to finalize some details. But we'll talk about this next week. Anyway, the bell will be ringing in approximately 2 seconds. Shut your face. Anyway. Anyway, if you haven't commented in the chat, please make sure that you do so. I'm going to sign off in a minute. You guys have a good day. See you guys.